Fender Mustang guitar.
The serial number on the back seems to imply this is a 1966 model made in Fullerton, California.
I've never been a huge fan of Mustangs, but when I tried this one, it immediately felt special to me. I haven't been a fan of them because I'm a big lover of the Ford Mustang car. It represents the best that America has to offer in terms of culture and beauty and style. So I kind of expected a guitar with that name would do the same. But when I tried some in the store, it just didn't quite get that feeling. And I'm pretty sure I tried not just reissues, but also vintage ones as well, and I never felt like I quite understood the attraction of them. These were originally released in 1964, and they were, from what I understand from reading online, kind of a combination of two student models, Music Master and the Geo Sonic, which were slightly smaller guitars, 3/4 they were called, and this is actually a little shorter than a Fender Stratocaster, so you'll kind of notice when you're playing it that it feels a little shorter. It has a body that's similar to a Fender Jazzmaster. The features of the guitar that you'll notice, in addition to the shorter length, are these two angled single coil pickups, and they're covered as well. The reason they're covered is because the way that they're wired, if the finger or the string touches them, it can cause a short, so they have this plastic covering on the pickups to prevent that. Other unique features, they have a unique vibrato arm. The pickup selectors are a little strange. You have, I guess you could say, 9 different configurations because you can turn both of them off, unlike the Stratocaster where you have a pickup selector that toggles between the far left or the far right or the middle, and then those two out of phase positions in between. These allow you to turn off and on each pickup. So the pickup selectors allow you not just to turn the pickups on and off, but also to reverse the polarity of the pickups. So you can just have one pickup on, and you can have it on in the opposite polarity. Likewise, with the other pickup on and on in the opposite polarity, and then you can combine those effects, both pickups on in the opposite polarity, both pickups on, but they're now in opposing polarities, and then you can swap again and have opposing polarities, but you're kind of going the other direction with the polarities. So that gives you 8 different settings. Having tried that with the tone selector as well, so you can adjust the tone as you go, it felt a little bit overbearing in terms of the number of possible sounds you could get, and I never really felt like I quite got the sound I wanted. And having tried many of these models in the store, because I was convinced, well, if Kurt Cobain plays one, if Thurston Moore plays one, if Rory Gallagher plays one, if this is turned up in all kinds of other 90s indie bands, and surely this is good enough for me. Because although this is produced from 64 until the early 80s, they didn't reissue it again until the 90s, and when it came out in the 90s, it proved pretty popular with those indie bands, those grunge bands, which is probably where I saw them on TV, and I thought, well, if they're that amazing, then surely I'll like them. But I didn't. I didn't like them at all until one day in my local guitar store, somebody recommended I plug this one in, said it was a really nice sound, and I have to agree as soon as I plugged it in. Something about the specific pickups or the specific wear and tear that gives it a really unique sound. I've used this in recordings, in particular on my last album, The Moment Is Gone. There's an arrangement of Psalm number 40. I plugged this straight into the amp and then mic'd it right to the board, and there wasn't a need for maybe a touch of reverb, but I didn't use much else on there. I didn't feel the need to have much else in terms of effects. Just a touch of reverb. It just has a very nice sound to it. And you can get very, very trebly with it. Or you can bring the tone all the way in and muffle muffle it so it's got a good range in between. I like to have it maybe more towards the muffle end, just to give it a bit more of a bass sound to it. That's with pickup selectors all one way, pickup selectors all the other way, so both pickups on, but still in phase, just reversing polarity of both pickups. I don't feel like it's a massive variation of sound, but I think both sounds are awesome. Let's have both pickups on, but out of phase with each other, and then reverse the polarity on that setting. I personally feel that that's a little thinner a sound. And again, that's a bit thinner as a sound. Now, let's just try one pickup on its own. Even with one pickup, it's a very special sound. Reversing the polarity just gives it a little extra warmth, I feel. Let's try the other pickup closer to the bridge. As you'd expect, it's a little trebly and has more of an attack. So while I can't sit here and recommend a Mustang for anybody, because my experience is they don't all sound beautiful, I definitely feel like there are some special ones out there. The vintage models are going to cost you a little bit more. If you see some Mustang vintages hanging in your local guitar store, check them out. You might find a sound you really find special. I'm curious to hear other feedback from Mustang players, so definitely go ahead and comment below if you've had a Mustang, whether it's a reissue from the 90s and onwards, or if you've had one from the 60s or 70s or early 80s. I'd love to know more about what the variation in sound is like and what people have experienced. Some people have installed a pickup selector, but to do that I understand you've got to change the wiring within the whole guitar. Others have installed different pickups. Some people take the plastic covers off the pickup, so there's a range of customizations you can do to them. I don't feel like customizing this much because in addition to how beautiful the sound feels, the fretboard is very playable. It's nice and smooth and it has a nice warm feeling to it. I don't know who owned this guitar before, but I don't feel any of the sort of weird crazy energy that comes with some guitars. It just feels kind of placid, like it was treated with respect and saw some good years, and I feel like it's pretty comfortable where it is now. I also love the deep dark red pickguard, and I'm assuming that this was originally yellow, but it could have been originally white for all I know. It definitely has some scratches and nicks. It looks like it hasn't necessarily been beaten up, but has been played a lot. I haven't even changed these strings on this in I don't know how long, and yet plugging it in and tuning it up, it still has a beautiful sound. Burn the cane, burn the cane, let it all burn down. As always, if you like the videos here, definitely go ahead and click the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell icon so that you're notified when I post new content. Thanks again for watching.